E3 used to be cool because why did it used to be cool? Well, it was like the age of information wasn't so crazy like it is. So used to have to like, things weren't leaked ahead of time like it is now and stuff like that. So like and then they made E3 like used to be just like, oh, this is where you still hear the big announcements there, but it doesn't have that same energy. I used to love it. I used to love getting a magazine that had like E3 coverage in it. Then I used to I used to like watching the whole press conferences, and sometimes they were disasters and sometimes they were funny.
Wait,
But now it's like I don't care. I just do not care. They
so do
try to
you?
make it better like
Mhm.
that. They got rid of booth girls and they got rid of everything fun about it.
That's the death of E3, the booth girls. That's definitely
Well, has it done well since? You tell me. I think
but
a lot of people feel about like E3 just
mhm,
like a lot of companies just drop out of it now too. They just do their own little conference
mhm.
things
I mean,
because they don't care. E3
I
anymore.
think the biggest thing that I feel like that might come out of E3, probably might be the it's actually Nintendo's Direct. Actually, when they might actually show the an image or at least a console of the new Nintendo quote unquote Pro. So
Is that the way Nintendo does things? They just show like a clip, like a little image. I feel like
I mean, they might
they'll
show the
either
console.
announce it or they either announce it and not show anything at all, like say
Mhm.
it's there, or I feel like they'll do a whole thing on it. But they'll usually save that. Well, they're doing their own thing anyway. It's an
Yeah,
E3 thing, but it's their own
yeah, they're still the
whatever.
Nintendo Direct. So we'll see.
I don't care about that either at all. So, not to like
Mhm.
it had nothing to do with how I feel about Switch, but like I'm so frustrated about the whole you buy something and then there's just a pro version a couple of years later. Like I don't
I mean,
like
honestly,
Nintendo.
I don't mind improvements on certain hardware. Like if they can
I
improve
do.
things such as like the Joy-Con, I would love, as I always say, I would love um, a remodeled Joy-Con with maybe like that's something a little bit bigger than what they currently have, and just like something that just feels better on adult hands. Because the Joy-Cons, they just feel after a while, the regular Joy-Cons, they just feel too cramped in your hand as you play, especially when you're using it, portably. So I hope at least there's a redesign, a bigger, hard drive, and just the kind of the basic stuff. I think that's pretty
I
much.
don't know how like I don't know. I mean, I guess I feel like the Joy Cons work because of the way they are, right?
Exactly. But see,
I
just
feel like
changing. Go ahead.
if you want to use something bigger, like if you're going on the go,
Hmm.
playing with the Joy Cons on the system is fine. The only thing that cramped is when you have to take them off and play. I feel like that's unnecessary. I mean, I'm sure that maybe they figure out something. But I feel like that's part of the necessary evil of the Switch being the way it is.
Hmm.
I just feel like because if they were too wide on the Switch, it would look either stupid or out of place or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
hopefully they find a form factor that just maybe improves it a bit.
and plus, it's not it's still a system that's not necessarily made for people with large hands. Also, not that we're not primary target audience,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, I understand.
kids get the perfect probably use out of
Mhm.
it more
I
so
mean,
than
I think
if it was too big for
if anything,
them.
they can play with the Switch Lite. I think that's pretty big with
No, but that's the whole Joy-Con thing is
yeah, that's true.
what
I mean,
makes that's
you
a
can
different that's a whole
you
different
can still use
experience.
Joy Cons on a Switch
A
Lite
Switch Lite
too.
is a Switch Lite is the next portable of Nintendo system, really,
Hmm.
basically. Whereas, and I mean, I think the idea of Switch Lite is fine, but I think I would never ever get one.
Yeah, me personally, I wouldn't, but I think a lot of people
Because
who
I
do
think it
have
defeats the
like
purpose.
children, I know people who have kids who buy a Switch Lite for them because it's like their own little thing. They can go wherever with it, and I think the way they build
Yeah,
it is a little bit more durable than the actual
I
Switch.
mean, the only reason I would say that is because there isn't anything else. Like, you can't get a 3DS because I mean, you can, but they're dead. So,
Yeah,
like,
but
what's the point?
Nintendo doesn't want you getting a 3DS. They want you to get a
I
Switch
know,
Lite.
I know.
If you're a kid,
Of
they
course,
want
they
you to get
don't
a
want.
Switch Lite.
I mean, I know what they want, but I still feel like if both were on the market, I'd prefer to get a 3DS. I
I
feel
mean,
like
yeah,
it's just more built for that.
yeah. I mean, for children, I would
It's
say like a 3DS would be perfect just because of
plus it's
the form
clamshell
factor.
and stuff. Yeah,
Clamshell helps out a lot. So
clamshell. It's it's cooler.
but
I think it's a cooler idea of a system than a Switch is the Switch without the feature that makes it a Switch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
True,
That's how I feel.
you know,
But it is what it is.
mhm.
I don't think it's wrong in any way to make a Switch Lite either. I just
Yeah.
don't. I personally think like never. I'll never get that.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
No. So no, but I was saying with systems, the whole idea I think is, you know,
I mean, it's gonna happen eventually with these consoles. I mean, actually, let me ask you a question. Do you
Wait.
think with the well,
No, I was gonna say before you get to that, I just wanted to say the reason is like not that the way Nintendo does it can be sometimes really bad. Like they literally sometimes will just not split the user base, but like you can't play a certain game unless you have our newest version of the system, which I think is the worst.
How many times has that happened aside from
they're starting to do it? That's what I'm trying to say. Like maybe they haven't done it before. Like the DS was pretty good all
3DS
out, but then
that.
the 3DS started this thing, and I'm not saying like I don't know about the bigger systems, but like if this is what they're saying, when did the Switch come out?
Which came out about 2017, 18 or 17? 17, yeah, like March 17. So
because usually Nintendo releases a system every 5 years. Their next system.
I think the Switch is doing so good that they probably are going to try to.
Oh no, the Wii was doing so good. I didn't care.
The Wii, I think the Wii was different. I think the problem with the Wii was that it was really popular, but I think after a while, a lot of people kind of shelved it. Like especially because a lot of people were purchasing it were like, I don't want to say like casual consumers, but it was like the average Joe who just wanted to play Wii bowling a couple of times, and then afterwards they're like, all right, I'm gonna throw it in the closet or just keep it on my living room system and watch it collect dust. So I feel like a lot of people and a lot of gamers who were really into games, they didn't really play the Switch as they played the Wii, but I think it was more of a casual audience on the Wii compared to now the Switch, which I feel like a lot of people, casual and hardcore, are playing on the Switch.
Okay, I just don't think I'd rather see whatever they're doing next than see a higher res version of the same.
I mean, what can they do next? What's really after this?
That's what everybody says every time. That's what they get paid the money for. Show me what's next. Show me. I like it that they at least they do something, and I like that they try different things within the new systems because they realize like with the GameCube they can't just make a more powerful system. It's not going to work with Nintendo backing it. That's that people rather have the Call of Duties and stuff. And you might as well get it on PlayStation or whatever. So they said, okay, we got to go a different route. I like that. So don't go the same route of, okay, we got something. Let's just start making it stronger now and just switch forever. They'll figure something out.
I think they can get away with it because I feel like the Switch is just so like it's one of the top selling games this console generation. I mean, the last console generation, if it's including, the Xbox One and PS4, and I'm sure this console generation just by default because.
But it's gonna. But when you but the issue is like they got to do something because even if it's selling, it's going to stop selling at some point. And the fact that these new launches of systems usually aren't like meant to be the next wave of income for them. They're just meant to be like, they're like, some people get it, some people really want it and stuff, but like the casual people are not going to most likely get a Switch Pro. Like this is the issue. Because even if you think about the Wii U, I know it's a different system and stuff like that, whatever. But the idea was like, oh, we already have one. We have a Wii, and I'm just saying like, I think the Pro version of the Switch, I'm not, it'll be fine. Making better, whatever, do better. I just feel like, ugh.
I mean, the only thing I can see that Nintendo really dabbling in that they probably haven't, well, they probably have. I think they definitely have. I think maybe they might double down on it is VR. I definitely see like VR being a presence because especially with the way the game, the Joy-Cons are you able to detach them, kind of hold them, like the wirelessly because they have the motion, I guess the gyroscope on them. I think that'll probably be perfect for like a VR type experience. So I think I think there's some. I think there are some games that I don't know if it's VR compatible, but I think it's Mario Odyssey and what else? there's some games that have like I
Didn't
think
they do VR with their stupid box thing you had to
yeah,
build
the
over your head?
Labo, which has been
Wow.
rest in peace Labo. Um, I think they did that with the Labo. Like you can create like a VR type of a goggle. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah.
apparently some games are
I don't
compatible
know.
with that.
I almost don't see Nintendo putting too much into that right now. I think they will at some point, but I don't know if that's coming right now.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't imagine it just because I don't see Nintendo. To me, seems when they make something, they put a lot of it, something behind it,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see them doing Mario VR or Zelda VR right now. I just don't,
Mm-hmm.
Although they're getting real happy with remaking, or not remaking, but remastering a lot of like Zelda games and stuff like that.
Yeah, I see that.
I
What
kind of
was
never
couple?
thought every Zelda game, 3D Zelda game, would be either remade or remastered. It's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess a lot of the Wii U games, like, I mean, that's the story of the Switch. A lot of the Wii U games are just kind of being dumped on the Switch.
Dumped right back on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so E3, it's coming.
Yeah.
What's Microsoft doing? Who cares?
They might show Halo.
No, they will show Halo. It's not they might. They're gonna show Halo. It needs to look better than it did last time they showed it, which I think it will be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that's good because I'd like to play a new Halo.
Oh, definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but 343 to me really hasn't created a great Halo game. I know Halo 5 had its high points in multiplayer, but even I don't understand why that's not on the Master Chief Collection at this point. That's astounding that all the Xbox stuff you can get on PC, that's the one game you can't.
That's funny.
The one game that people might really want to play, you
Mhm.
can't get. So everybody's just playing Master Chief Collection on PC instead without Halo 5. It's stupid. It's astounding.
I don't know why. That's kind of weird. Maybe it's I can't explain it. I have no idea.
I don't know. I know it's work to port it over, but they ported everything else over. Just might as well just do it. Like that would, I'd love to play Halo 5 multiplayer. I'd love to play that, but I'm not gonna buy an Xbox to do it. Especially when mostly every other game I want to play on Xbox, I can play on my PC, except for Halo 5. It's the one game.
And that's the only thing they have going for it.
Yeah, it's the one game most people probably would want to play from Xbox that, like, okay, Gears and all that stuff. That's cool. But like, I want to play Halo 5. But no, okay.
I mean,
Master Chief Collection, but no, okay.
I'm hoping that with the Halo Infinite, like they really kind of this time actually go into what the game is really about. Like, I feel like the demo was very lackluster, as you mentioned, the graphics. So I think if they kind of explain what sets this apart, compared to all the other, did they talk about it being open world?
I mean, I think from what I've read and what I've saw, it's open world Halo. That's what it is.
Just give more details. I guess, I don't know. I feel
like there's a giant map, I think, and then you take missions. You do missions based on like locations and stuff, which is not a bad idea. I think the 10 mission Halo thing is like, okay, let's try something new. And so this is something new.
And they can always update it. I guess there's always probably gonna be an update of different missions.
Yeah, the most distracting thing was just how bad it looked. Like Halo can't afford to be kind of a mediocre looking game, which it used to kind of be able to afford to be. Like Halo 3 did not look that great to me.
I mean, Halo's their marquee title at this point. They really need to like step it up. I mean, right, go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish that. And then,
no.
I was gonna say
I'm
now
trying to think. You're saying it's a marquee.
I mean, now that they have Bethesda, now I think they're really like pumping that because I've seen like a lot of like the, I guess, marketing for Halo's presence. I mean, Xbox's presence is always Xbox and Bethesda. So I really feel like they're gonna lean into that a lot and try to like highlight that they've acquired all these studios and they have Bethesda, they have the Bethesda IP, you know what I mean? So we'll see how that works for them. Hopefully they can show something, that culminates from that from the joint venture or from the buyout.
I mean, I just feel like I don't know. Like Halo. That's all I can think about when I think about Microsoft. Yeah, I know Gears is a thing, and I have Gears 5 actually. Yeah, it should be. I think Gears is probably the other big game on it.
I mean, maybe just me. I just haven't heard like really Gears in the stratosphere in a while. Like I haven't really
It's
heard.
not. I don't think it's like. It's not at the level of it when it first came and like Gears 1 through 3. I
Mhm.
think it fell off with 4 and 5, but it's. I think it's still a big enough property that it gets them. And I don't know. I
Mhm.
think it is. I don't know. I don't have
I,
sales numbers, but
yeah.
people still play it. I still see people. Still.
Mhm.
I don't know. I have to check Twitch. Maybe nobody plays it. I
I don't
don't know.
know.
Um, but Microsoft, they have to do something. Sony's still killing it if it comes to these new IPs or these
Mhm.
like kind of one player big games. They still doing very good. Like
Yeah.
Microsoft did everything great from a console's perspective in terms of
Mhm.
backwards compatibility and things like that, but they failed with bringing games that people care about.
Yeah. I feel like Microsoft is definitely
Exclusive
leaning more
games.
towards the Game Pass as their crutch, as like the future of video games. And I think, you know, I do see where they're coming along with, where they're angling that. I do feel it's a tad early, but I think with them kind of like trumpeting it now, like just kind of like beating the drum and letting, fans and other people see that, it's all about Game Pass. You can play any games that you want at any time. Doesn't matter the console. I think that is, the kind of like the future of gaming. And I think that's gonna be their most important thing because in reality, like even though I would like to get a Xbox Series X, I really, with Game Pass, I don't feel that compelled. I feel like I'm getting the games right then and there, and there's so many games to play that I'm not even thinking about having having a Series X, honestly, right now. You know what I mean? Because I don't. Is there any like Series X games that's exclusive to X Game Pass? I don't know personally.
Um, well, the thing about it's so weird because Xbox to me has done good things,
Mm-hmm.
but and they're almost like anti Xbox things that are good. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, like the fact that if you got a PC, you can play all the Xbox games and Series X.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't have to ever buy an Xbox. I have access to all. I have Game Pass right now. I have Halo. I have all these games I can just play. Especially not like the Bethesda. I can download any of those games.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much. I'll tell you that part of the issue though is having all the games at once. Kind of it's overwhelming. So
It
unless
is.
you really want to play a game, you're not going to. You're just gonna let you
Mm-hmm.
kind of in your head. You're like, oh, I can play it later, even though they're not. All these games aren't always going to be here. Like
Yeah,
every
that's
once
the
in a
thing.
while, something comes along and it's like, oh, this game's being taken off, and I'm like, oh shit, you
I,
know,
yeah. I,
I
I
wanted
wish
to play that.
I wish they put like maybe the length of time a
They're
game would be there, so that way you can kind of like
yeah,
plan it a little bit better. Because I know like they don't want to like make it. I know
but
they want to make it seem like you have an infinite amount of games that you always can
But
play.
if they do that, that's
Mhm.
that's like if they do that, people will probably just plan on having the pass for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, that's true.
So they don't want to like, oh, I'm gonna buy the pass from here to here because this is the only game I care about, and
Mhm.
so they want to get rid of that. But I just don't like even with the games they have, like even there's a lot, any Microsoft main game appears here.
Mhm.
None of them I looked at them and I'm like, like Sea of Thieves was supposed to be a big thing, and it's, whatever. The best thing so far on this Game Pass to me really has always been just Halo.
Yeah, yeah. I
Just,
mean,
that's
I
it.
do like. All right, I do like how like you can play certain new games, like
I can play Doom Eternal. I forgot about that.
Outriders.
Like new game.
I played that, and I'm like I said mentioned before, I am so glad I didn't have to dish out $60 to $70 to play Outriders
Yeah.
because after playing with it a couple of times, I was like, okay, this is definitely not for me, and I think it definitely saved me some money compared to if I were to buy it on its own.
I'd much rather just give them money every month and just hold on to the Game Pass.
Mhm.
Yeah, personally, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea. If I ever, part of me wants to seriously get back into doing games and looking at games. This is the perfect service because,
Mhm.
I can almost randomly pick a game and just be like, I don't know what the hell is,
Yeah,
you know,
like for example, the other like last month, I was just like kind of like just browsing around Xbox Game Pass, and I was playing Black on the original Xbox just randomly because I'm like,
mm,
oh, that's a game I haven't played in like so long. So I'm like, let me play some Black, and then it's just like so many games. I think the only downside is that if you're looking to download all the games or queue them up,
Mhm.
make sure you have a good internet because it does take a while for certain games to come in. But overall, I'm really happy with the service. I get to play games that I wouldn't, you know, purchase normally, and I get to try them out and experience it, for not for free, but for like the cost of purchasing multiple games during a month. So that's like 14, like $15 a month for Ultimate. So whatever that amount is every month, $15
Mhm.
for whatever amount of games you want to play, however time you want to play them. I can't complain about that.
All right. So do you think we could agree they're just gonna probably announce Halo? They're gonna be other stuff there,
Halo
but
and Game Pass, I think they're gonna trump the Game Pass.
but yeah, but who what else do we care about on Xbox? I guess I
Xbox.
know
That's
some
really
people are probably like, these guys don't know anything about my, because
I mean,
I browse sites all the time, and nothing
mhm.
I see on them makes me say, "Oh my god, I cannot wait to like see this Xbox game
I
or
mean,
whatever."
I feel like now with like games coming out, it's like I don't know what it is, but I think this year has been a slower trickle of news of games or announcements. Or maybe I'm just missing them, but I haven't really seen anything that caught my eye that said, "Oh, this is coming out," or whatnot. So I
Yeah,
don't
probably
really,
slowing things down because nobody has them damn systems anyway.
yeah. So that's true, and they probably won't have these systems in a while. You know what I mean? Because I guess with everything going on and the chips and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, in a way, it benefits Microsoft because at least they can again trumpet the Xbox Game Pass and say, "Hey guys, you can play all these games." And I don't know, I don't think there's any real exclusive games on Series X, right? Like, there's no like Series X only games that I can think of. Usually, they're just kind of like,
There's probably something. We just
yeah. I'm just trying to
What's
think.
that game? What's that game? Yeah, there's some games. There's that game where you're that girl and you go through like different
Medium.
dimensions. Yeah, and
Did I see it on
that's
Game Pass as
Xbox.
well? Let me see the
I don't
Medium.
know if it's on Game Pass, but I know it's definitely that's Xbox exclusive, right?
Let me see the Xbox Series X exclusive.
Well, I don't know. I don't. What's Series X exclusive mean? Like I can't play it on PC?
No, I mean just like I guess you can't play it on the Xbox One.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Um,
maybe let me double check. Xbox Series. Okay, so no, that is Xbox the
yeah,
media. Okay.
that
Oh,
came and went.
mhm.
I
All right.
know. It probably not. Available with Xbox Game Pass. Oh, I could play it. I could try it,
Mhm.
but
So I
I
was wondering
don't
about
care
that.
to. I heard it's not super. It's like creepy, but I don't know. I heard it was okay.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Um,
All right, what else?
but
So
they tried. I guess they just didn't hit it. They didn't knock it out of the park. But Sony knows how to. They just know. Hey, we got to make games that look like this and do this, and I don't know. They kind
mhm.
of get it. But like, what about Sony? So Sony's not. Say I heard something like they're not going to be there.
Yeah, they're probably doing their own thing. I
They
didn't
just
have.
did a state of play with some
Oh,
big announcements.
yeah, there was one
They
recently. I
showed her. They showed Horizon 2,
mhm.
like 15 minutes of gameplay. Looks amazing. Looks like really pretty Horizon, even more prettier than the first game. I never played the first game, so
I
whatever.
have to play it.
But it looks that's like another system seller. That's gonna get that trailer. Everybody's just losing their mind. It looks because it looks so amazing.
Mhm.
That's what you don't see that from Xbox. You don't see that kind of hype game. Just make a game that looks like that. They need to go revive Scalebound and make it a thing. That
Yeah,
game looks dope.
I just wish I wish I could understand like how like Xbox kind of lost that, like
Because
having those games. It's just crazy how the 360 went from there. They're killing it, and after that, I know certain decisions and certain announcements kind of like killed the momentum
here's
of the Xbox One. But the fact that they can't come up with like a lot of single player or like games that just kind of captures the audience is interesting.
the thing about the 360 and the PS3 was there was like a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
That was the internet was so much better on Xbox 360 than it was on PlayStation.
Oh, very much.
That was a
Mhm.
big selling point to me. I play my Xbox 360 a lot more friends because of how easy it was compared to PlayStation 3 at the time. Unreal Engine games and stuff worked so much better on Xbox than they did on PlayStation. So even games that had both versions, usually Xbox versions were always better. They just ran better. Bayonetta and just a lot of games that just ran a lot better on 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 Xbox. Gears at that time and Halo were such a 1-2 punch on that system. Xbox Live Arcade, all this stuff that really they made them kind of think was cool, but then like with I don't know what happened with Xbox One in terms of it wasn't powerful as a system.
That's true.
Like you said, it was all about
those announcements that they had announced where they said that
I was going to say the initial
design all the time, at the time, which now you look at it's kind of funny because you really have to be online all the time for all the consoles, well, except for Switch, but for all the consoles.
But don't tell people that.
Yeah, exactly. But I think people back then weren't ready for that. And I feel like one thing about audiences is
that sell your games.
They're very fickle. Well, that too. But I think audiences are very fickle when you feel like you tell them you can't do this anymore. This whole thing.
You take away their toys. You can't do that.
No more. And I feel like people rejected that because a lot of people, especially gamers, they like to be kind of rebellious in some kind of way where they're like, you can't tell me not to sell my games back. You can't tell me that I have to be online at all times. What if there's an outage? What if it's that? Like I think, just taking it away, I think they could have worded it a little bit better where it made it seem like more seamless or like this is the, where gaming is heading instead of just you have to be online all the time. You can't sell your games back.
I think it was just the overall. Remember, it came with the Kinect, and Kinect was supposed to be a big thing in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
Forced on it. And it wasn't designed as a primary video game system. It was going to be the primary everything system, all in one. That was the whole point. Your Netflix and your, which is like, I got the idea because a lot of people did use their Xboxes just to watch things. And, Xbox did it. The 360 kind of did a lot of stuff. So you kind of in your head like, oh, well, we can make an even better system. But then they forgot about the gaming part of it because really the gaming part was the weakest part in terms of when you think about like how weak that system was. Like, running games, like every game on them looked worse, ran at a lower whatever on the Xbox. And this was like next gen at the time. And it just didn't look like it, didn't feel like it. And then what that to me also did is it took out that and because of all this too, Halo and Gears they were not the 1-2 punch anymore.
Yeah.
They were so good in the 360s, but in the next gen, they just didn't have that clout. Call of Duty and all that, which was everywhere, kind of surpassed what, and since you can get a Call of Duty anywhere.
But Call of Duty too, though. But Call of Duty was lucky because when it was on Xbox 360, I guarantee you, majority of the Call of Duty players was on the 360.
Yeah,
because they lost a lot because of all that. They lost out the popular platform, which was
PlayStation being cheaper too. I forgot PlayStation came out cheaper. PS4 was cheaper.
You know what I feel? I feel in reality, Xbox One was too ahead of its time, and I think that with
design. But not with its with its specs.
With its specs, and not with the specs, but with the concept of a lot of things that they were trying to do, with the camera on all the time. Because I think at the time when they announced it, a lot of people weren't used to like having, the cameras on all the time and
talking to something.
And now
like we do now. Like, Alexa, do this.
Alexa, do this, do that. And it's clearly when you look at the fine print, usually all these devices tell you that they can listen to your conversation, when you don't know or whatnot, and things like that. And people are kind of okay with that. They've been eased into it.
All right, I'm gonna go get my food, but I'll come back.
All right, no problem. Press pause. We have to do an intro too. We didn't do that. We kind of just went in.
So, do we have to?
Of course. How are they gonna know who we are?
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, kind of go, to finish up on the Xbox. I do feel like they were ahead of the time, and it just kind of bit them, a little bit. They tried a little bit too early. They put their card out too early, and it just didn't work out for them. And I feel like with Game Pass, it's almost the same thing at this point. I think, they're trying to play the early card to kind of be an innovator of, doing like the Netflix for games type of ordeal, having that kind of service. But I don't know if it's going to help them. I can see it being popular in the future. I don't know how well it's going to take on right now, especially since a lot of people do have Xbox One. I think They really need to sell it. They really need to kind of like hit it with the Xbox Series X, which a lot of people still don't have. So
I just feel like I don't think being ahead of the time was the issue. I think the presentation of what they came talking about it like some kind of authoritative. You cannot do this. You know,
Mhm.
like, well, not that you cannot do this, but this is how it's going to be.
You can't sell the
You
games
know,
back. You
we
can't
know
tell.
what's
You can't give
best
it
for
to your
you.
friend.
You
Yeah.
know, why not have that kind of idea, but just make it a little bit more user friendly? That's all they had to do.
Yeah,
They didn't have
that's
to
what. Hey,
say,
but that's the
yeah,
Apple thing. Like there's like they're not taking the feature away. It's the feature. They're not taking it away. It's like
right.
streamlined.
Yeah,
You
just,
know.
yeah. Say something like, when you get your, they just made it so, like, even that presentation, like I watched it maybe like a year ago, the Xbox, and it was so much TV part. That's all it was.
And
They
it's
were
funny.
focused on the wrong thing because they did like this is what they do. They do it when you win the generation, you get cocky and think people are just gonna buy it based on the name. So
PS3
Xbox,
syndrome.
PS3 basically was like that, like $600, but it's PlayStation. Of course you're gonna get it.
Yeah,
You know,
Wii U did it.
and
When they had the
I
Wii,
was
they're
like,
like, "Oh,
oh
it's a Wii U. It's gonna sell." And then meanwhile,
yeah,
everyone's in
it
the
has a
store
Wii
like,
in the name.
"Okay, is the Wii U an attachment for my Wii? What's the Wii U? Is it like another controller? It can't just buy the screen by itself. Play my Wii U.
A
So
whole damn new system. Oh shit. You know.
mhm.
So I don't know. E3's coming. I mean, I'm more excited about WWDC conference where they're gonna announce computer stuff like the next iOS update. I'm more excited about that than I am E3.
Is there any like rumor like
I don't
features
know.
for iOS or just
It's a
like?
new Apple event. So,
Mhm,
I mean, I'm really interested in the M1 iPad. I kind of want one so bad.
mhm.
I want to try to replace my computer. Not my computer,
iPad
my laptop. Yeah, my laptop. I want to
laptop?
replace it. It's supposed to be that good. One of my friends swears by it, and I think the new operating systems are going to be announced during this conference, and
Mhm.
it's supposed to, hopefully, with such a high-powered iPad, they're going to start announcing things to take. Because I don't know if you know about the M1 chip.
Not really. I'm not
Um,
familiar with like following
so
Apple.
when you make a computer, you put a computer chip in it. Usually, these
Well, I know
computer
that
chips are
much.
okay, they're made by Intel or they're made by AMD.
Mhm.
So even Apple computers were made by Intel. They had Intel chips. So Apple was like, oh, you know what? We're Apple. We can do whatever we want. So let's make our own chip. So they made these new chips that are supposedly ridiculously good. And for a first generation of their own chip that they made to be ridiculously good like this is incredible.
Have
It's
they
like
used anything else aside from the iPad that's coming up?
no. So first, the idea was they first threw it in their computers. They threw it in the Mac Mini and they threw it in the laptops, and then now they just released the desktop. And according to all the reviews, these things are super power efficient, super quiet, but powerful. Very great for video editing, all this stuff. They run really good. They got really good graphics built into them already. Like you don't need, now Apple, you play the Apple tax on everything, of course, obviously,
Mhm.
but then they said the same chip that's powering all these computers, they just threw it in an iPad too. So I'm kind of curious. Like, it runs like quiet. These things have no fans in them. That's how
Wow.
crazy it is. That's how resourceful. It's amazing. So I'm kind of want to see what that is, but that's out of my price range right now, so I'm not going
Mhm.
to worry about it.
How
But I'm
much
more
is
excited about that
how much is
than I
one Pro
am
though? Just for those who are probably inquiring.
the lowest iPad one is $799.
799.
Um,
Well, a
yeah,
lot, but not.
and
It could sounds like it could be a
the
lot.
Macs are like the Mac Mini might be like 600.
Mhm.
Uh, the laptops are always like 1,000. I think the base computer is 1,200. So
Mhm.
you're always paying a little bit extra. You're not getting the same specs, but the operating system of Apple makes up a lot of the difference.
But let me ask you a question with Apple. Not to go too off tangent. Uh, don't are they notorious for like if a new version comes out, they're going to like,
For
kind
the
of
phones, and I think Apple has even admitted
they
they
slowed
have
it
planned.
down.
they have planned obsolescence built into them.
Hmm.
Where so from what I hear now, the newer ones are much better, and they do support the phones and stuff for a much longer time now. But around like the iPhone 5S and 6 or
Yeah.
something like that, those phones got really bad within a couple of years.
Yeah, I remember I had like because I'm the in my family I'm the only one who really has Android like that. I like
Yeah,
some other cousins they just mostly have Apple, and I remember every time a new Apple phone comes out, if we're hanging out, they're like, "Oh, this phone's not working," or it's like it's slowing down to the point where it just frustrates you to get a new phone. And to be fair,
yeah.
I know it's not Apple's not the only issue, only company to have that issue because I've had Blackberries where after a year or two, they just they just don't work anymore. And then even
It's
some of my Android phones have failed on me where, the Note 4, which I've had for years, I've had two Note 4s, two different Note 4s, and they've both just conked out on me with a point where they didn't
it's
turn on anymore.
it's a
So,
combination of like in time things tech ages anyway, right? It's gonna burn out and stuff. Tech always
mhm,
ages, but also it's firmware. Like Apple, it's a difference with Android. Android is not united in terms of
yeah,
like
because they
depending
use
on
Android like
unless you
spread across so much.
like a specifically Google phone,
Hmm.
they'll get all the updates. But if you get a Alltel, whatever different brand name Android phone, they
Yeah.
might not be able to update. Whereas all Apple devices, you're always going to get the updates. Now the thing about that is that Apple, uh, part of the planned obsolescence is when they introduce these updates. Usually there's a lot of new features that weren't intended to be designed with the old phones in mind.
Hmm.
Part of that's BS because some of the new features, I'll give you a great example, is the iPhone 3S. That's the first iPhone I had. The iPhone 3S could only take pictures.
Hmm.
Um, but the if you jailbroke the phone, you could take video. And when they came out with the 3GS, which had video in its firmware and all that stuff, the 3Gs didn't have video still. They could, but it very well showed that it's a software thing. It could have video. They didn't want to put it in.
Hmm.
They want to buy a new phone if you wanted a video. You know what I mean? So like, I just think that, but I just know now though, especially because people, especially with the way media is and stuff, and
Hmm.
people finding things out, they're a little bit more
Careful to not
friendly, or you're careful about how they do these
yeah,
things.
because they know people will
They're
be
still going to do it probably in some way, but it's not going to be so obvious. It was
mhm,
really bad.
yeah.
Like like I had an iPad 2, which was obviously the second one that came out, but it was great when it first came out, and it on the latest operating system that it can run, which was like iOS 8 or something like that. I think
Mhm.
it started on iOS like 3 or something, but iOS 8, it's unusable. And I jailbroke it and downgraded it, and it worked fine.
Mhm.
That's why I was
Right.
like, that's ridiculous. Because iOS 8 didn't offer anything so much that you needed
Yeah,
to use it,
it offer
but
you a way to buy another one. It'd be like, all right,
and you can't
offer you a
you know
reason to buy another one.
and you have to jailbreak in order to downgrade.
Mhm.
There's no other way. Apple, at least computers at least will let you figure out a way to downgrade your system if you want. But Apple's like, nah, you can't.
So
Unless you do something
to kind of swing
sketchy.
this around back into video games, I know Apple has been experimenting with like Apple Arcade. Have they made any mention of that? Like, is there any
Well, I have Apple Arcade, and I have an Apple TV,
mhm,
one of the newer ones that plays Apple Arcade. Apple Arcade is really weird because Apple Arcade has games. They have some games like it came out with some really strong games. There's a game called Oceanhorn 2, which is like
mhm,
basically Breath of the Wild,
mhm.
but not really Breath of the Wild, but it's like a very high end. It had a lot of people from like Square Enix on it, like X Square, and it's
So maybe the
real like
spiritual successor.
well, it's definitely the first game was a lot like Wind Waker in a way. So this
Mhm.
one's like a lot like, but it looks great. It's like, it's definitely a triple A ish title. And it's, you get Game Pass and you get to, it's part of Game Pass. Game Pass, when we first got it, there was a lot of games that like, there was cool multiplayer games like, your friends, you just, yo, let's get on. Let's play Pac-Man Battle Royale. Let's play this other thing. And that was cool. But I think after like the first week of it, because there's a lot of it's similar to Game Pass. They just add games all the time. But instead of adding like really high quality game, no, let me not say that. It adds games all the time. And these are games that are made by like developers. And I think they have, Apple has to say, this is good enough to go on Game Pass or Apple Arcade. Whatever, Apple Arcade. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you get decent games, but it's also a similar symptom of too much content. So you don't, so it's hard to really find good games on it. Sometimes there are probably a lot of good games on it. Some are not good.
How many games do you think is in total in the Apple Arcade?
Because it's over hundreds. It's over like 100. Yeah.
I mean, are they just filtering like what's on their game store on the iPhone to the Apple Arcade, or that's what?
What do you mean?
Are they like, because you know how you have like the App Store with its own games? Are they just filtered into Apple Arcade, or is it Apple Arcade?
There's a whole separate section. Like you can't. The games available on Arcade, like they look like regular apps on your phone and stuff like that, but you can't purchase these games.
Outside of Apple Arcade,
you can only play them during having an Apple Arcade account or whatever
subscription.
Then you're allowed to, Then you're allowed to just download them. Mm-hmm. But I've even seen like there's a game that one of the last games that Hinorabu Sakaguchi, who made Final Fantasy, and Nobuo Uematsu, who does the soundtracks, they put out a game recently, and it's only on Apple Arcade. It's some RPG called Fantasian, and it looks. I haven't played a lot of it, but it definitely seems upper tier quality of. So once in a while they get really good stuff, but it's also in between a lot of either weird stuff and stuff that some of the stuff is not good. I play some games are definitely looking like Flash, kind of like the quality is all over the place.
I mean, honestly, it sucks to kind of like separate games, but I think they really need to kind of like, if you have like these developers, especially the ones who created Final Fantasy and composes the music, they're considered legends and a high tier in the industry. They may need to find a way to kind of highlight the higher tier games, or I guess games that are like AAA-ish in a way. Like maybe just have a way to kind of like highlight them.
I mean, because like there's like they have like NBA games and stuff that are Apple Arcade. There's and then one of the better games is called What the Golf. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's called What the Golf. It's really fun. That's probably one of the better games. You can actually get it on other things though. It's not. You can only play it on the phone through Apple Arcade, but I think like it's probably on Android in some form or something too.
I'll probably check it out.
But it's really good. It's like they say it's a golf game for people who don't like golf, and it is perfect. It's like every little bit you play of it, it's like there's always a surprise. But even within the surprise of it, it's still a game. So, and it's a perfect kind of portable game because you can play it for a little bit and then move on. But it's still very like every time I come back to it, I keep having fun. But then you have your big. They have some RPGs. They have. Online games, they have, there's a lot to it, but it's also similar. It's also in a way where it does to me, it's still phone
games. Like there's there's
that stigma. And to me, it's phone games and it's not phone games in the way where me and phone, I used to love Apple phone games. There was a golden age of phone games when things like Infinity Blade, which spawned
all the time.
Which spawned books that I read. There was like a whole era of just me and my friends would just look for sales, and is this worth $1? Let's try it. Well, there was that age, and then they discovered freemium, and it all went out the window. So this is kind of a nice actual change of pace from freemium because every game here is completely what it is. There's no DLC. There's no purchasing anything to these games. What you got is the full idea for the games. So that's kind of actually a nice change of pace because you barely get that anymore.
Definitely.
But here's another thing. So Apple Arcade actually works on the Apple TVs, so you can play these games on your big screen. You can connect the PlayStation controller right to the Apple TV through Bluetooth and play games. So I was playing like the Sonic racing game I played, played Chrono Trigger. I think it's called It might be called Team Sonic
Okay,
Racing.
so that's the latest one.
Whatever. It's not the PC one. It's like a phone version of some Sonic racing game.
Okay,
but it's not. It's exclusive. It's an Apple Store or whatever.
Okay, so maybe it's a different game I don't know about. Okay.
Let me look at it. Let me look for it.
No
Sonic.
And speaking of Sonic, did you see that Sonic presentation, Sonic Central?
Oh man, it's another thing too. Yeah, I saw a little bit of it. Go ahead if you want to talk about
it. So the biggest surprise is that they got Roger, what's his name? The voice actor Roger Craig back as Sonic. Apparently, he wasn't going to be Sonic anymore at some point. I don't know. I just heard about it that day. So he's back as Sonic. That was a big announcement. And then, yeah. Well, actually, call me when they get Ryan Drummond back because I really want.
It's called Sonic Racing.
Sonic Racing. Okay. But so what else? Sonic. I saw that, they were just kind of like, from what I remember, they was just kind of celebrating like, Sonic 30 years and, or whatnot. And I think they showed a trailer for a Sonic game at the end that wasn't.
They announced a new one
until like 2022, and there was just a snippet of it. And
they did a remaster of Colors.
Colors, remaster.
I never played. And, I mean, it kind of like it's the better version of those new kind of Sonic stages where they had in Sonic Werewolf Sonic game. Mm-hmm. But then they were like, oh, people actually just like the Sonic part, so let's just do that. Mm-hmm. So they actually, I heard most people that played Sonic Colors liked it. I didn't like the aesthetic of it, how most of it takes place in like Eggman's casino base, whatever, Funland or whatever.
I didn't really play Sonic. What was the last Sonic game I played? I don't even remember. Actually, no, it was Sonic. I played a little bit of Sonic Dark Forces. Well, not Dark Forces. Sonic Forces. Sonic Forces. I played a little bit of that.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, and then what else? Yeah, Sonic
Generations. Shouldn't have been. Sonic Generations was so good, and then Sonic Forces was just so bad. It's just like how? What happened?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, there was this one more thing that. So you talking about that Sonic stuff? They Dragon Quest, my big art RPG guy. So Dragon Quest had they had their own presentation thing last week, like whatever. So. Mm-hmm. So they announced the Dragon Quest 12, which is big. They were kind of saying it's going to be a little bit more mature Dragon Quest, a little darker, which is kind of crazy because Dragon Quest, for the most part, has some themes that are dark, but it's very lighthearted. It's very legendary hero saves the world. That's really mostly all the Dragon Quest games, except for some of them, which I don't want to spoil. But so they announced that. They didn't show a damn piece of footage because it must be really early. They announced all this other crappy Dragon Quest, not crappy, but just other Dragon Quest things, I wouldn't really care about. But they did announce a remake for Dragon Quest 3, which is one of the better ones from the NES, and it's made in the style of Octopath Traveler.
Wow. Okay, so it's like pretty much 2D sprites and then a 3D.
And it looks beautiful. Wow. Oh, I saw as a person who played it, I was like, not Octopath Traveler, but I played Dragon Quest 3, and I saw it. I said, my good, I'm buying that instantly. Oh my God. That was something that I did not see coming. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I feel like maybe 3 was I don't know if I would have chose 3. Mm-hmm. I think maybe 4 might have been better, but
yeah, I tried looking for 4. I mean, they have it on the, what is it called?
5, I think would have been better.
4 and 5 was on the DS, and that thing.
Yeah, I think 5 would have been the best one to make because 5 is the one Dragon Quest game I think everybody should play. Mm-hmm. 3 is very good, but I think 5 is the best. And I think everybody should have a chance to play 5. Mm-hmm. But that's just me. But I don't know. It's kind of running. I kind of want to get to my food.
All right, I think it's a good time to end it. I mean, pretty much, we just kind of wait to see what's going on with E3, and we'll probably discuss it as things get released. I think for next time, though, I would like to talk to you about Invincible.
Okay, have you finished it?
I finished it today.
Oh, see, that would have been better to talk about.
Yeah, well, we'll save that for next week.
I would have been primed to talk about that. I'm so in.
You know
Yeah,
what?
see,
I didn't want to do like back to back, like
I know, but
just.
but you know, you got to get something. That was a good. Well, anyway, all right, next week.
Next
I'm
week,
hyped.
I'll tell you how I feel about it. I'm not even gonna tell you, anything how I feel about it afterwards. You're gonna have to wait till next week to talk about it.
You have to tell me something.
I can't tell you anything.
Yeah, you can. Did you like it?
I can't tell you that.
Yeah, you can. Just tell me if you liked it. If you didn't like it, both ways, I'm hyped to talk about it. Did you turn off your mic on purpose? No, okay. You think you're funny. This is like part of the skit. Oh God.
No, I really want to discuss it. I really want to discuss everything that I
you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me.
All right, you know what?
You gotta say good,
right.
good, bad.
How about this? How about this? Do you want to? All right. Do you want to turn this into?
No.
Okay. Well, then I'll say
good, bad. No, just give me good, bad. Did you like it or did you not like it? You didn't like it. I can tell.
I don't know. I didn't say that.
Nope, you didn't like it.
I didn't say that. You
didn't like it.
You gotta be patient.
I don't want to wait. Tell me.
Yeah, be patient.
What is this? Why are we not adults?
Because it's more fun that way. I want to see.
No, I need to be. No, you have to tell me. Castlevania was fun, and I knew you liked that. So come on.
All right. Have you read the comics of Invincible?
No, but I'm watching like clips of the comics online.
Okay.
Spoiling it for myself, but I don't care.
So I'll give you a teaser. It was all right. I felt
that's a good teaser because now I'm interested. I want to know more, but not now. But I definitely want to know next week. It was all right. Okay.
All right. I know you feel excited about it, but how do you feel about it? Like, what is your take on it?
I think it's good. I think it's good, but I think it's getting a lot of good hype. I think it's a little overrated. Just because it does what it does. Because you know what it does. It does some things that other comics won't do.
Yeah,
but I don't think that in itself makes it good.
All right. I'll just say this one more thing. I just feel like there are certain areas that they cut that I felt like lessons
from the comic,
not from the comic. Just talk about the show.
Or just in terms of budget.
Budget.
Yeah, it looks cheap. Some parts of it look really bad.
I'll say this one thing. All right, this is one thing I gotta say. All right, there was a part where I think either one of the characters were flying, right? And it looks like they're just holding up paper. And
yeah, they do that a lot. And they do that in a lot of anime too. They do that in a lot of
but this time it feels very flat. Like at least when there's certain budgetary things you see sometimes.
Oh, but you want to know where I saw it? In the last episode when he punched Invincible and he's rolling. There's a part where he's like just rolling on the floor, and it's the same like 2 frames for the longest time. Like first there's like smoke covering it, and then the smoke kind of leaves, and it's just the same 2 frames. And I'm like, ooh,
you know what? We'll save that for next time.
Yeah. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later, bro. All right, guys. Sorry we didn't introduce ourselves, but this is Steven Sterl with the 8BGCAST, and thank you guys for watching. ABG out.